monitors has been assigned by the federal court to monitor compliance by the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. And we'll be talking a little bit more about the job that we do and what we do and how we do it. But before I speak to you, I can call out the sheriff, who's very happy to be here with us. We want to say hello to the sheriff.
Chief, can you hear? It's not too acoustics here. Anyway, thank you, all of you, for coming. And this is a kind of an outreach program that the district court ordered. And I think Chief Warshaw is here today, but half is here. And doing everything to cooperate with the monitors, court decisions, and see how we progress with trying hard. And this is something I kind of like, because I like getting to the people, no matter what vehicle it is. So it's a good thing, and we're working very hard. Your staff. I want to thank you for your hard work. Professional organizations. I want to thank all my employees for working with on. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you, sir, for being here. And hopefully you can hear me better now with the microphone. Señor Chair, muchas gracias por estar aquí. I'm going to explain a little bit more about who we are in a couple seconds and who's here from the monitor group, but I'd like to introduce first that the order talks about the creation of the Community Advisory Board. La orden del juez federal creó una unidad, un grupo que se llama el Grupo Asesorio de la Comunidad. We have here with us one of the members, la señora Ángel Maldonado de aquí. Gracias, Ángel. El grupo de consejos de la comunidad que ha sido creado bajo la orden del juez federal. Tenemos aquí uno de los miembros de ese grupo, la señora de aquí, con su esposo representado al lado de ella. Gracias por estar aquí con nosotros. We also have a member of the ACLU, which is Mr. Dakota, can you please come up and talk to us for a couple seconds.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming. I'm with the ACLU of Arizona, and the ACLU of Arizona, with others, were part of the original group of council that initiated this litigation late 2007. I was younger, and others involved included the ACLU's Immigrants' Rights Project and all the Mexican American Legal Defense Fund, and two law firms, Steptoe and most recently the Covington law firm, the California offices. It's been a long and important struggle, and as soon as folks know, as a result of the evidence that was presented to the court a while back, Judge Snow of the Federal District Court found that the MCSO was systematically, and had been for years, depriving Latino residents while in their vehicles of constitutional rights protected by the Fourth Amendment's protections against unreasonable seizures, the 14th Amendment's equal protection clause because of the widespread improper use of race in law enforcement decisions by MCSO personnel. That was a very important step in this litigation, and vindicated what, of course, the Latino community was stating to all of us for many years. We are now in the remedial stage of this lawsuit, and we thank the monitors, of course, for not only tonight, but for their continued important and terrific work to make sure that the hard-fought victory not only continues, but results in actual change in the practices and culture of the MCSO, and does not allow the return of those practices which harm so many folks. So the remedial stage is something that this gathering is a part of, to get inputs from the community, report to the community if there are any questions. Obviously, I'm sure all of us at the MCSO, and I thank the MCSO representatives and the sheriff for being here tonight, are available on other occasions if there are questions that folks have from the Community Advisory Board. But the judge's decision initially was the liability decision. You have 140 pages of that to work through. It's a comprehensive decision, and then that was followed up with a 59-page decision that indicated the various changes that have to be made, including the appointment of the monitor and staff, in order to guarantee that these practices don't continue or reoccur. And that's going to be a long and important process. Obviously, the cooperative work from the MCO will be a big dependent on whether that's a success or not, as well as other factors, so that we are available for further discussion. And thank you all.
Thank you, man. El señor Daniel es uno de la cabeza del club de la ACU. Usted ha trabajado con ustedes y él explicó la historia de la corte de todo este caso y el progreso que se hace en todo este caso. Next, before we start talking about what we have been doing in the past few months, I'm going to call Chief Trombley to talk Copa County Sheriff's Office, introduce all its members, and some of the accomplishments they've done in the last few months. Chief.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everybody here. Again, my name is Dave Trombley. I'm with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. I've been here for 24 years. I report directly to the Chief Deputy, Jerry Sheridan, who is seated over here behind the two uniformed deputies who are also commanders in this area. Also present from the Sheriff's Office this evening are one of our Bureau Chiefs, Deputy Chief Joe Rodriguez, seated in the back, is raising his hand back there. I was driving down I-17 the other day and a billboard popped up, and it was a sign, and it said, coins are made of metal because change is hard. But it did not say change was impossible. And so there are some changes or continual improvements that we are making at the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office under the leadership of Sheriff Arpaio. And we are doing these things not alone. And we can't do it alone. We need a couple of different components to assist us. One of them is obviously Chief Martinez, Chief Warshaw, and also from the monitor group, who have a great deal of experience from all over the country. They bring with them various skill sets that are assisting us in the continual improvement that we are working on. But with all due respect to the monitor group and to the Sheriff's Office and Sheriff Arpaio, the other component that is needed is you, the community. We need your assistance. We need you to tell us what we're doing wrong. We need your critiques, your comments. We need your criticisms and your complaints. Now, I wouldn't be fair if I didn't throw in there the fact that if we do something right, well, we'd like to hear that too, because that helps us identify individuals within our office as leaders, even though they might be the rank of deputy, who then could become mentors to other young deputies within the Sheriff's Office. So those three components are what we need. Chief Warshaw, obviously our efforts and the community to help us get through and get to that point where we want to be and definitively will be. So when I was in the military for 8 years after duty, they used to have this three-legged stool diagram. Each one of the legs had a name. Training, the other was equipment, and the other was mindset. Mindset can be one of the most challenging of the changes that need to occur. But I'm going to relate a very quick story, and then I'll get off this microphone. A couple of times a year, I like to go to San Diego, and every time I do, the sheriff asks me, "What are you doing over there?" I usually tell him it's like a job interview or something like that. I like to go there. So I ended up dragging my RV, and we ended up going to a place near San Diego. And we get to take our medium-sized dogs with us. And so on this one particular trip last April, while there, I happened to notice a gentleman who was within the RV park, who kept looking at a vehicle that was parked directly behind where my RV was at. So to set it up for you. There's the back of my trailer, a half concrete wall, half wrought iron fence, and then a parking lot, playground, and then San Diego Harbor. And so I asked him if everything was okay. He asks me if I had noticed the green pickup truck and how long it had been parked there. I said, I hadn't noticed. And he says, well, he was out walking on the shoreline that morning. He noticed a wallet, and then he took a few more steps and found some keys. So we took the keys back to the parking lot, clicked off and on, and noticed that the lights and the locks on the vehicle parked directly behind my RV were turning off and on. I said, well, I would probably call the local police department and have them start looking into it. So I've already done that. They're on their way. 10 minutes elapsed, and I noticed one patrol unit pulls into the RV campground, and the other unit on the other side of the fence near where the vehicle is at. The officer who's within 15 feet of me on the other side of the fence is writing down license plates and doing other things. And my wife says to me, you should tell him about the helicopter from the night before. Now, already I'm thinking to myself, that's a bad idea. I'm not going to say that to my wife, but I'm thinking that's a bad idea. Why? Figure that out at the end of the story. And I choose not to for a moment until she insists that I do it. Okay, I've been married long enough to know that if she's insisting, I probably should do it. So I say to the officer, who's on the other side of the fence, 15 feet away from me, and I use terminology like, hey, I think you guys might have had an air unit orbiting just north of the trailer park last night at 2200, okay? That's terminology that might alert a cop that maybe he's talking to somebody who's in the same business. Here's what I get. Yeah, that's what I got out of it. Now I'm mad because I knew I shouldn't have said it, because I knew I was going to get that type of response. I really wanted to be mad at my wife, but guess what? I'll leave that. 15 minutes later, the second unit leaves the trailer park and meets up with the officer who's now on the outside talking to the other officer. When the gentleman who first approached and made me aware of the fact that he found all the keys, was walking up next to me. And he stood next to me, 15 feet distance again from the officers who still at the vehicle, says, is it stolen? They say, it is what it is. They didn't even look at it. I'm furious, absolutely furious at the way that they handled it. But again, I'm not saying anything to them. So they continue their business. They hook the vehicle up on a tow truck, off it goes, the gentleman leaves, and I leave about 30 minutes later to go to the beach with $5. And I tell my wife, I've got to find that guy, and I want to talk to him, the gentleman who made the report. And as I'm driving out, sure enough, I find him next to a very nice motor coach. And I approach him and I say, I want to apologize to you for the behavior of those two officers, because what they do for a living, I do for a living. You know what he said to me? Don't worry about it. I retired from the King County Sheriff's Office after 30 years, and I expected that. That's the mindset that I'm talking about. And those are some of the changes, amongst many others, that we need to get to our officers and deputies. I tell that story to every Deputy Academy class that comes through, because that is where we get the us versus them mentality, and that cannot exist. It is not us versus anyone. It is us collectively as a group coming to an ending that hopefully everybody can be somewhat satisfied. And that is the community component of what I believe, and what I believe the Sheriff's Office believes to be one of the most challenging, yet we can attain that goal. So I'm going to leave it at that. Taking enough time, Chief Martinez. Thank you. I appreciate everybody's time, and I'll turn it back over to you, sir.
Thank you, Chief. Now we're going to talk a little bit about who we are. What is the monitor? Vamos a hablar un poquito de quiénes somos nosotros, qué quiere decir el monitor. As you can see, we have a few members here. It's about 11 to 12 members who are part of the monitor team. It's headed by Chief Robert Marshall. He's the appointed monitor by the federal court. El grupo tenemos de 11 a 13 miembros que somos parte del grupo monitor. La cabeza del grupo es el jefe Robert Marshall. We have hundreds of years of law enforcement experience in New Jersey, Miami, etc., etc., etc. Tenemos cientos de años de experiencia siendo policías en otros departamentos, Miami, New Jersey, y otras ciudades. And we try to bring that experience here to help them apply, implement best police practices. The order, which we'll talk about the order in the next couple of minutes. There's nothing other than implement best police practices, and all is asking for the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office to do. Los requisitos de la orden es solamente implementar en este departamento las mejores prácticas policíacas, las mejores políticas policíacas que existen. As members have 30, 40 years of law enforcement experience, we have a couple members that are professors. Some people are from in-state Arizona, some people are from out-of-state Arizona, and we come in once a month, once every couple of weeks to do our job. Los miembros del grupo tienen 30, 40 años de experiencia en la policía, son profesores de universidad que son parte del grupo. Algunos de los miembros de este grupo viven en el estado de Arizona, el resto del mundo venimos cada par de semanas y estamos con ustedes. What is the purpose of this meeting? Why are we here? ¿Cuál es la razón que estamos aquí hoy? First of all, the order requires it. The federal judge and Judge Lowe put in this order the requirement to hold community meetings, and to hold at least one community meeting per district per year. La orden del juez Lowe tiene un requisito que esta clase de reuniones pase por cada distrito, por lo menos una reunión por distrito anualmente, y por eso que estamos aquí. Well, first and foremost, and we'll talk about compliance in the next couple of minutes. First and foremost is to hear from you, the community, not to hear from me. I apologize for the chair and the deputy chiefs and the chiefs, but to hear from you. How do you feel about police service? Because it doesn't matter what we say, what we look, what we review, the percentages that we'll talk about in the next couple of minutes. You're the ones who have to tell whether you're happy with police service, whether you feel comfortable with police service, whether you feel safe with the police service, whether you feel that the police should protect you versus the other things. Lo más importante de estas reuniones no es que oigan de mí, ni del sheriff, ni los jefes de la policía, es oír de ustedes. Como ustedes se sienten en el servicio de la policía, si se sienten cómodos con la policía, si se sienten que la policía lo está protegiendo o no lo está protegiendo. This is the 6th meeting that we have held. Sometimes we have small attendance, sometimes we have a large attendance, but it's important that we have attendance, because if the committee doesn't show up, then what does it say about the arrangements about the police department? The police department's here, the chair, you see all the high branch of the police department here to hear from you, not just to hear from me. Any concerns that you have, whether it's good concerns or bad concerns. So if the committee doesn't show up, then there's nothing for them to hear, which is positive or negative. Lo importante de estas reuniones es que ustedes estén aquí, porque ellos están aquí para oír de ustedes, no solamente para oír de mí. Ellos saben lo que voy a decir. La historia mía no cambia mucho. Ustedes son los que pueden decir algo, cosas positivas o cosas negativas que pasan en este departamento. What does the order say? The order is about 59 pages, and there's hundreds of paragraphs that we are, as monitors, required to monitor those paragraphs to see whether they comply or do not comply with the paragraph. And it sounds simple, but it's not as simple as it is. And this is not the only city that's under an order or an agreement. Sometimes they call it consent decrees, sometimes they're orders from the court. Seattle, New Orleans, Miami's going to be hit pretty soon, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's many cities that go through this, and it's part of the process of the police department becoming a better police department. Este proceso que está pasando la policía de Maricopa es un proceso que es muy común. Hay otras ciudades que están pasando más del mismo proceso. Las ciudades de Seattle, de New Orleans, de Miami y muchas otras están pasando por el mismo proceso de reforma. The order, I'm going to highlight some of the issues on those 59 pages, that's hundreds of paragraphs. But some of the highlights is that it requires the creation of an implementation unit that makes sure that the 59 pages, the hundreds of paragraphs, the article orders are complied with. And they're basically our liaison with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. Captain Skinner is the head of that unit. He does a wonderful job. We have one of the members of the implementation unit here, and we're in constant contact with those folks. Uno de los requisitos de la orden es la creación de una unidad de implementación. El capitán Skinner, que no está aquí con nosotros, pero hay uno de los miembros de la unidad que está sentado detrás, trabaja muy cerca con nosotros, y es el enfoque principal de la policía de Maricopa en implementar todo esto. There's a lot of requirements of creation of policies and procedures. Changes of policies and procedures that either never existed before, if they existed, they were lacking in some areas, and it requires the department to create those policies. La orden ordena como requisito crear nuevas políticas que no existían o si existían no cubren completamente todos los puntos que lo que dice la orden. It prohibits discriminatory and racial profiling. Prohíbe discriminación y perfiles raciales que fueron usados por la policía. It prohibits law enforcement actions based on race or ethnicity. It says that it doesn't matter where you're from, the color of your skin, the length of your hair. No police action should be based on how you look. It should be based on what you did. La orden prohíbe acciones policíacas basadas solamente o en ningún punto con la raza o el origen de la persona. No importa el color de la persona, si tiene pelo largo, tiene pelo corto, si es mujer o hombre, las acciones policíacas tienen que ser basadas por lo que usted hizo, no como usted lo hizo. It mandates bias-free enforcement, which means that traffic enforcement occurs if you violate the law. If you're at a stop sign, they're likely to stop you and your ticket. It doesn't matter who's behind the wheel. También prohíben enforzar leyes de tránsito basadas en prejuicio. Si usted se lleva la luz roja, lo paran y le quieren un ticket, no importa quién está manejando el carro. And also mandates bias-free detention and arrest. Los arrestos deben ser libres de prejuicio. También it provides direction on the enforcement of immigration-related laws, and we realize that's part of the basis that got us all here. And Mr. Pagona spoke about the trials and the court cases and the hearings, etc. Y también crea política para dar la dirección al departamento del enfoque o el no enfoque en las leyes migratorias. It also mandates a lot of requirements for pre-planned operations. They usually call saturation patrols or crime sweeps, etc., before they happen. There's a lot of things they have to do. They have to notify the governor's office. There's certain requirements they have to meet before they do it. And también requiere y prohíbe y provee requisitos cómo pueden conducir ellas operaciones especiales, lo que llamaban la patrulla de saturación que ellos hacían antes. It requires a lot of training. Some of this training we'll be touching upon in the next couple of minutes. Some of that has happened already. And training on the bias-free policing, on detention and arrest, and supervisory training. Esta orden también manda muchos requisitos de adiestramiento, que es muy importante. Ustedes quieren tener un policía que sea bien entrenado, bien adecuado para que pueda hacer su trabajo. And also, one of the points is that it creates something that is called an early identification system. What does that mean? It's a system that tracks behaviors by police officers. And it tracks it all in a systematic way where, they'll be able to identify an officer before the officer does something that's real bad. Is the officer going to go late? Is he late to work? Is he sloppy with his paperwork? Is he missing this? Etc. So it starts counting a lot of behaviors, and it starts showing little highlights for supervisors to say, hey, Mr. Jones, is something going on? Are you having problems at home? We can help you with it. It's not just a negative, it's not a punitive tool, so it's a helping tool to help the officer before the officer gets in trouble, and he or she's a headline on the local newspaper. También tiene un requisito de la creación de un sistema de identificación temprana de los agentes de la policía, donde se miran diferentes acciones que coge la policía, se puede identificar a esa policía bien temprano, antes que ese policía meta la pata, algo bien malo que sale después de la página del periódico. And also it says very, very clearly that the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office cannot enforce immigration laws. Y también dice bien claramente la orden del juez no, que la policía y los agentes del condado de Maricopa no pueden enforzar la ley inmigratoria. What do we do as well? ¿Qué hacemos nosotros como el grupo de Puerto? First, we are officers of the court. We don't work for the sheriff's office, we don't work for the ACLU, we work for the judge. You know, and our job is, if you follow baseball, we're the umpire of home plate. We call it safe or out as we see the play, as the runner slides. You know, it doesn't matter whether the runner is from the Arizona Diamondbacks or the New York Yankees, you know, we call it as we see it. El trabajo nosotros como monitor, nosotros no trabajamos para la policía de Maricopa, no trabajamos para el juez federal. Y la labor de nosotros es mirar lo que está haciendo la policía de Maricopa y decir sí o no, si la están haciendo bien, si están cumpliendo con los requisitos de esta orden. We communicate a lot with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. We communicate a lot with the ACLU. We communicate a lot with the CAB, you know, to see what's going on in this area. Nosotros tenemos comunicaciones directas constantemente con la policía de Maricopa, con la ACA y los miembros del grupo de la comunidad. We do audits, and we'll be talking about the first couple of reports that we submitted, and we do assessments. And we have submitted already two reports on that. Hacemos auditoría y evaluaciones de cómo está haciendo la policía de Maricopa y en unos cuantos minutos les voy a hacer los grados de la primera dos evaluaciones que hicimos. And then we come to meetings like this where we inform them, those that are here, those that want to listen, you know, to how are we seeing the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, are they improving? Are they getting better? Weaknesses that they have. Y también venimos a reuniones como esta para informarle a ustedes del público lo que estamos viendo, lo que están haciendo bien y lo que están haciendo mal. The progress so far, you know, with this process, the order came out in October 2nd, 2013, and we got appointed as monitors January of last year, so it's going to be a year in a few days from now where we've actually been here. It's a huge learning process on how this police department works, who's in this community, you know, et cetera, et cetera. El proceso empezó en octubre del 2013, donde la orden final del juez Snow salió. Las posiciones del monitor fue elegido por el juez Snow, que fue el escogido para jefe Warsaw como el monitor de este caso. Empezamos aquí a los finales de enero, en unos próximos días va a ser un año que hemos estado aquí. En ese año empezamos a aprender cómo trabaja la policía, quiénes son ustedes, cómo trabaja esta comunidad. Some of the things that I've done so far, we have done a number of site visits to the districts. We have done observations. Some are good observations, some are negative observations. We tell them. When we see something that we don't think is right, we tell the sheriff, we tell the commander of that unit, you know, this doesn't look right to us. You know, you should take a look at this. You know, we try to follow the order requirement, but if we see anything that may be outside the order, which we can't, you know, we can't mandate to do it, but we still, you know, whisper in the ear, you know, we should take a look at this. The order doesn't deal with that issue, because the order doesn't deal with everything that the police department does. But if we tell, you know, we're concerned about this, that you should be concerned about this. Nosotros hemos hecho bastante visita a todos los distritos, hemos mirado cómo trabajan ellos, le hemos dado observaciones positivas y negativas a la policía, cosas que vemos que trabajan bien y cosas que vemos que no trabajan muy bien. Algunas de las cosas que le estamos dando a ellos puede ser que no caiga adentro de la orden, pero le estamos dando nuestra opinión como policías profesionales de otras ciudades que vemos cómo trabajan en otras ciudades y que aquí parece que están trabajando. Our first report was submitted September 18th, and it dealt with the period of January to June 30th. It was a 6-month report because we started that late. Nuestro primer reporte fue imprimido el 18 de septiembre. Este reporte cubre el periodo de enero 1 a 30 de junio. Fue 6 meses, aunque normalmente va a ser de 3 meses, pero como empezamos tarde a final de enero, se hizo un primer reporte de 6 meses. The order is divided into paragraphs, 59 pages. For us to see compliance, sometimes a paragraph has a bunch of, you know, paragraph 55 may have 8 to 10. And for them to be in compliance with the paragraph, they have to be compliant from A to N. You know, if N is not compliant, all the others are, they're not in full compliance of the paragraph. And as an example, and this is a simple example, if the paragraph says, when a police officer stops a car, he will stop the car with the left hand, we'll be taking reports when the officer stops somebody, did he use the left hand? And again, I'm making a ridiculous example, but that's what we look for. If they stop the car and the report that they wrote said, I used the right hand, the right hand, they're not following the procedure. If they use the left hand, like the order would say, then they're following the right procedure. Un ejemplo, estoy dando, esta orden tiene muchos párrafos. Los párrafos tienen secciones. Hay párrafos que tienen de A a N. Para que ellos cumplan con un párrafo, tienen que cumplir con todos los puntos de ese párrafo. No solamente con la A, y no con la B, y no con la C. Tiene que ser completamente cumplir con todos los puntos de esa orden. Un ejemplo simple que estoy dando. Si la orden dice cuando paran un carro de la policía, tiene que usar la mano izquierda para que pare el carro, vamos a checar los reportes para decir si el policía no paró su carro, si usó la mano izquierda. Si usó la mano derecha, quiere decir que no está cumpliendo con los requisitos de la orden. A summary of this report, there's about 87 paragraphs on this 59 pages. There's more than 87 paragraphs, but some paragraphs are not objective. They don't have initial outcomes that we can look at. They'll give you reports that we can check. On the first report, again, it's from January to June, of the 87 paragraphs, we found in full compliance, 11 of the 87 paragraphs were in full compliance, which is 13%, or 76 of the 77 were not in full compliance at the time. El primer reporte que salió el 18 de septiembre, de los 87 párrafos que tiene esta orden, porque hay más de 87, pero muchos de los párrafos no tienen objetivos que se pueden accesar. 11 de los 87 párrafos ellos están cumpliendo de ellos, el 13% de cumplimiento, y 76 de los 87 párrafos ellos no están cumpliendo con esos requisitos, así que hay un fallo del 87% de eso. Again, this is as of June 30th. We're now January 14th, so a lot has happened since then. Again, it's not abnormal for a police department when they first go through this process. And they're not the first police department, nor will they be the last one. That's under an order or consent decree for the first couple of reports, for them not to have what you will call, what kids that go to the school call a passing grade. No kids want to get 30% on their exam. What is not abnormal because you have to create processes, create policies, do training, and then implement the training. Aunque ellos recibieron un 13% solamente de cumplimiento, no es anormal que cuando un departamento pasa a este proceso, que al principio sea bien bajo. Aunque nos damos cuenta que los muchachos que van a este colegio, si sus hijos, si cogen un examen y cogen 13 de 100, nadie está contento con esos grados, pero es un proceso que ellos tienen que hacer muchas cosas antes que pueden implementar el proceso completo, y es un proceso que se demora. Our second report was published on December 12th, so that was more recent. So some of the things that they happened September 18th, may have happened by December 12th. And again, here we are January 14th, so some of the things that we talk about here may have occurred, but they're not part of the report, but they occurred after the report. Nuestro segundo reporte salió el 12 de diciembre y cubre el periodo de julio a 30 de septiembre. Y también hay cosas que ya pueden haber pasado, que pueden resolver, no son parte de este reporte, pero nosotros miramos qué está pasando en este periodo que estamos haciendo la inspección. Again, of the 87 paragraphs, the paragraphs are the same, they don't change. During this second quarter report that we have for the period of July 1st to September 30th, of the 87, there were full compliance of 14 of those 87, with a 60% passing rate. And there were not compliant of 73 out of 87 paragraphs, or an 84% non-compliance rate. But again, it is not abnormal for a police department in the first couple of years. They have to learn to crawl before they can walk. They have to create policies before they can train the policy. They have to train the policies before the policies are effective. So things have to happen and until the officers don't go with the left hand and stop the car, policy has to come out saying, use the left hand, they have to be trained to use the left hand, and now they're creating a report where we can check to see what the use of the left hand. En nuestro segundo reporte que escribimos, de los 87 párrafos otra vez, que somos el número de párrafos, 14 de ellos estaban en cumplimiento, 73 de ellos no estaban en cumplimiento. Y también no es incomún que al principio de un departamento que estaba en el proceso, que sea poco a poco, como ellos empiezan a hacerlo con punto de cumplimiento. Some of the highlights of the report beyond the numbers, it was 13, 14, 50%, 73%, they're numbers, but at the end, we're going to ask you, how do you feel? It's more important. Maybe you can't touch it, maybe you can't feel it, but you are the boss of the police department. You pay our salary, you pay when I used to be a policeman, the people in my community pay my salary, and they pay all the cops' salary. You're our bosses. You're the ones that tell us whether you're happy or unhappy with our police services. You want to see whether you're happy with it or not. Aunque estoy diciendo bastante números, 14%, 16%, 79%, que son números, lo más importante es como ustedes se sienten. Si usted está contento con el servicio policial que le está dando la policía, si se siente seguro, si le tiene miedo a la policía, ese va a ser al final el report card, el lado más importante de todo esto. Some of the things we have seen, since we've been here almost a year, we have seen a lot of good cops who are interested in change. And people are looking forward to better policing, to better policies, better equipment, and that's good. They're not fighting change. They're embracing the change, looking forward to the change. Una cosa que hemos visto, nos hemos dado cuenta de muchos policías en este departamento, hombres y mujeres, que les gusta el cambio, están mirando el cambio, están contentos que hay nueva política, están contentos que hay nuevo equipo, porque parte de esta orden hay requisitos del nuevo equipo con la Cámara, una cosa que vamos a hablar después. There's been a lot of work done between the ACLU, the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, and the Monitor's Office in creating policies. So it wasn't just done in the back. They didn't just say, let me write it, and this is it, left hand or right hand, so on and so forth. It was a combined effort. A lot of input from all the parties to make sure the policy meets what the order says. The policy is a good sound policy for policing. Trabajando en conjunto con la ACLU, con la Oficina del Monitor y la Policía de Maricopa, se crearon muchas nuevas políticas. No solamente como ellos creen que debe ser la política, como todo el mundo en conjunto dice que debe ser la política y cumpliendo con lo que dice la orden. They have done training. Training of bias free policing, arrest, and enforcement has occurred to all sworn officers, which is one of the key. You want your officer in the field to be the best trained officer. You equip them, you train them, and they can't say, well, nobody told me, or I didn't know, or if I had known them, I would have acted differently. They're well trained, they're well equipped, and now you go out there and they need supervision, which is another part. Se han hecho muchos cambios en la política, se han hecho mucho adiestramiento. A este punto se acaba, en diciembre se acabó el adiestramiento. Todos los agentes de la policía de Maricopa County que fueron a ese adiestramiento, que fue dado no solamente por miembros de la policía de Maricopa, pero por profesores que fueron mandados por la ACLU, que eran expertos en esta área. The issue of in-car cameras or recorders. There's a requirement in the order that has just been amended that all cops are to wear or will be wearing some sort of recording device. And I understand there's some issues that we're dealing with privacy issues, so on and so forth, but in reality, most of us have this. And most of this report, and you all have seen in the news, when a policeman does something right or wrong, that's somebody who's reporting that right or wrong. So those policemen are going to have their view, the official view of what happened at that incident. And most incidents, the history of the police departments that have cameras so far, it shows about 85% of those recordings clear the officer for any wrongdoing. 50% the officer did something wrong, you do something wrong, you gotta pay for that mistake, whether it's willfully or not willfully. The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office is in the process of acquiring cameras, equipping all their officers with cameras, recording X amount of incidents, and we're still debating what's going to be recorded, how it's going to be recorded, where's the camera going to be turned on, are we going to ask, ma'am, can we record you, or do we get to the scene, press the button and start recording? Uno de los puntos importantes de ahora es la creación, el requisito que se compren cámaras para todos los agentes de la policía. Casi todos tenemos, como tiene este señor, un teléfono que tiene una cámara, y todas las noches ponemos en las noticias y vemos un incidente, un policía hizo bueno o hizo malo y ha sido grabado por otras personas. Ahora, dependiendo de la policía, va a tener su primera grabación. Estamos trabajando todavía con los requisitos de qué se va a grabar, cómo se debe grabar, cómo se requiere esa información para que no sea solamente para que el policía no va a borrar si es algo negativo. La historia de todos los departamentos que tienen esta clase de equipo es que en el 85% de los incidentes que ha sido trabajado por la policía, el policía se encuentra no culpable de lo que hizo. El 15% de ellos, que el policía metió la pata, hizo algo mal y tiene que pagar por lo que hizo. Again, new policies have come out, and policies are written, not just, they're written by them, but they're approved by the ACLU, they're approved by us, to make sure that they meet best police practices. That the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted, that it covers all the angles that the order says, and again, it covers best police practices. Se ha escrito mucha política nueva, y muchas de ellas fueron parte de la ayuntamientos. Y las políticas no fueron solamente creadas por ellos, fueron creadas por ellos, pero fueron aprobadas por la ACA y aprobadas por nosotros, donde todos aseguramos que, primero, que cumple con lo que dice la orden, y el segundo punto, que son las mejores prácticas policiales. Training, I spoke about training already. We have completed the training on arrest, training on detention, training on bias-free policing. All officers have gone through that. The next phase is supervisory training, which is the key. The officer out in the field, when you want a supervisor out there in the field, you make sure that the officer is using the left hand. Maybe it's a traffic stop, for the example I gave before. Cops are good, but cops are better when the supervisor is down the field. Se ha hecho mucho ya el ayuntamiento, pero todo en arresto, detenciones y medidas migratorias, pero falta todavía el ayuntamiento en la área de supervisión. Es importante que los policías estén en la calle, el carro patrullero, que haya un supervisor afuera, vigilando lo que está haciendo ese policía. Que si usted tiene una queja o cualquier cosa, puede llamar al supervisor y él lo puede atender. Again, we're just taking baby steps. In October, the order came out, so it's been about 13, 14, 15 months since the judge issued the order. There's some additional responsibilities that the judge has given the monitor's office, certainly investigatory oversight, which has nothing to do with the initial 87 paragraphs, but it allows us to oversee certain investigations that the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office is doing, and the issue of community outreach, which is already here. It's something that the judge added to his initial order. We are not going to go away. The other ones, the sheriff doesn't want to go away either. Even though I'm sure some people would rather we would not be here, but it's a fact of life. We will be here. This is not a process that takes 6 months or a year and a half. Most order or consent decrees take years to take effect. We try to be as fair, as impartial as we can be, like the umpire complaint, calling it safe or calling it out, as you see it. We welcome the input from the ACLU. We welcome the input from the community advisory board. More importantly, we welcome your input for anything that you want to say. Otra vez, este es un proceso que se demora, no un proceso que se va a acabar en un año y medio, un proceso largo. Es un proceso, este no es el primer departamento, como dijimos antes, que pasa a este proceso. El trabajo de nosotros es mirar, reportar lo que juez nos ha dado, aparte de la orden de 159 páginas, nos ha dado otros deberes de investigaciones, de estar mirando algunas investigaciones que está haciendo la oficina del condado de Maricopa. Estas reuniones comunitarias no estaban al principio de la orden, pero han añadido la orden por el juez. Y nosotros vamos a estar aquí este año, el año que viene y el próximo. Estamos aquí para el mejor de ustedes. Yo no vengo aquí, tenemos miembros que viven en esta ciudad, pero ustedes son los que van a hacer la prueba final de esta orden. One of the key things for the police department is the public trust. You know, this is not one of those countries where policing occurs by fear. It's very simple to do policing when you do it by fear. Okay? Get out of the corner, go home, nobody in the streets, etc. That's simple policing. On those countries that live on that type of regime, it's very simple to be a policeman. You know, when there's nobody in the streets. Nobody can look like this. You can't nurse this way. You can't play that kind of music. You know, it's very simple. You know, when you do that, well, the Constitution doesn't allow that here. It doesn't matter what you look like, what music you play, how long your hair, the color of your skin. You know, the important thing is that these people that are here, those of you that are here, those of you who are not here because you're homeless, too cold, whatever, you know, then you have trust in your police department. Uno de los puntos más importantes del departamento de policía es la confianza que ustedes tienen en su departamento. Que no le tengan miedo a la policía. Es fácil ser policía en los países donde la policía trabaja para el miedo. Donde puede decirle que aquí nadie puede estar parado, usted tiene perambulando, no me gusta su sombrero ese, no me gusta la música que usted está tocando, etcétera, etcétera. Pero la constitución de este país nos da a nosotros las ganas, si queremos poner la música, el pelo de color que lo queremos tener largo, corto, etcétera, etcétera. Lo importante es que cuando usted diga la confianza que usted tiene para poner la policía, lo que se le dice public trust, es la cosa que es importante de este departamento. Basically, that's my spiel. I really want to hear from you. If you have something to say, good, bad, or different, that's what we're here for. If you have anything that you don't want to speak up and talk, Ms. Ramirez is here. She has some forms. If you want to file, was a good comment or a bad comment, she can give you that information. Our phone number is there. We have local numbers. We have our email address that you can send to us. The ACLU is also here. Anthem is here for the Community Advisory Board, so you can talk to her. So there's a lot of avenues if you want to talk to somebody. That you don't feel comfortable talking to the sheriff's staff, you don't feel comfortable talking to the monitor, you don't feel comfortable to the ACLU, you don't feel comfortable with the Community Advisory Board. So I mean, there's plenty of avenues here. If you have a concern or a complaint, and again, if you don't want to speak, we can do it by you. Tenemos miembros aquí de todos los grupos. La señorita Ramírez tiene formulario. Si usted quiere decir algo, tiene la oportunidad de decir algo. Si no quiere decir nada, porque no quiere hablar, pero quiere escribir, tiene algo que lo puede escribir, tiene formulario donde lo puede escribir. Si no tiene confianza de hablar con los miembros de la policía de Maricopa, puede hablar con nosotros, puede hablar con la ACU, puede hablar con alguien. Questions, thoughts, comments? ¿Alguna pregunta, comentarios?
Just a brief comment. Last time we checked about some pictures that basically were violating the order of court, and they were taken out, so that's good. Next, on the same article, they still need that they have 287D training. And as far as I know, 287D is not even in the books anymore.
Está diciendo que en la última reunión que estaba aquí, los miembros de su grupo nos indicaron que había una foto en el website de la policía de Maricopa que no era propia, y inmediatamente el jefe sheriff hizo las gestiones que tenía que hacer para quitar esa foto del internet. Pero tiene todavía un comentario que no lo vimos, que menciona todavía la ley 247G, que ya en este momento no existe, por lo menos no existe para los esfuerzos de la policía de Maryland. Chief, what they're saying is there's still a comment on your website at 270 under the jails. Yeah, under the central jail, if you click on it, you know, the picture was taken off, because you told him that, and he admits that, and he appreciates how quickly you remove the picture. But if you read the script under the central intake, I think it is, there's still a mention of 270.
I have a question. Everything that you say, theory, and some good. But the big problem is that the MCSO take care of this and put this on march to do everything what the people want. So the first thing is that the responsible and first man of the MCSO is the Joe Pine. But what happened when he is the first man and speak with bad words, bad actions to show he's different? When you speak about blood, you can see one video when somebody asks to him why he don't stop to do the bad job that he do, and he said, I don't want to stop nothing. I don't want to start nothing because I am Italian. I have Italian blood. So he put on the blood situation. So I have a lot of respect about the Roman culture. I am an educated man. I am a school teacher. I am a writer. And I have a very bad experience inside the jail because I don't never did not me there, and I was tortured for people of the MCSO. So we know that the Roman, they are the base of the Occidental culture. But when he speaks like that, and the action that he do, my question is, with all respect I say, I respect the Italian culture, but when you're talking about the Italian blood and the Italian culture, only I read to Caligula and Nero. He had to start to show the good intention and the respect to the people, and he don't have to be there to put some words that talking about the blood. For me, I am here in America. I am respect to him because he was elected to be the sheriff of the county Maricopa. He have to have respect for everybody. And always on my mind, these people, they have to understand that they are public servers, and any piece of bread on his table to give food to the kids, his mother, his father, is money that come from the taxes that everybody pay here in the country, and the taxes can come out of her pocket, and the money of everybody who is living here in the country. So he is the first person who need to start to have respect for the people. Thank you.
And thank you. And let me say something about that. The sheriff is here. The sheriff has been here the last couple of meetings. The sheriff's staff is here. One of the purposes of this meeting is for them to hear. Whether they like what they hear or not, that's a different issue. Whether they love what they hear or not, that's a different issue. You know, but they're hearing, and it says a lot for them to be here. They could be home watching TV, they're at least listening to what you say. If they agree or disagree with what you say, well, at least they're hearing what you're saying. Una cosa que está diciendo que estamos teniendo lo que dice el señor, pero es importante que el sheriff y los miembros del departamento están aquí para oírlo a ustedes. Aunque puede ser que no les guste lo que están diciendo, pero no importa, lo están oyendo y están entendiendo cómo ustedes se sienten. Y es importante que esté aquí fuera. Any other questions or thoughts, ideas? Ladies, gentlemen?
Good evening. I'm here to, again, to listen to the updates and to hear the latest as far as the changes that are being made. And today about the mindset. And to me, I think that there's a continuation of that mindset. I think that in different ways, it's still there. It's that culture of that spark, that racial profiling that's still there. That attitude is still there. And I think that it's something that the department is going along because there's a court order and they have to make those changes. And but the relationship is still there, the fraternity is still there, the brotherhood is still there in terms of the relationship with the Valley police departments, whether it's Tempe, Scottsdale, all the other police departments that that message is there. You know, my hands are tied, our department hands are tied, and we can't do the job that we were doing. So you guys are gonna have to do the job that we were doing. And the people are still being stopped, they're still being racially profiled by other people, by other departments, but a lot of times they end up at Maricopa County Sheriff's Office and in the jails and are being mistreated inside the jails, and the racial profiling continues in terms of the language and people being treated differently because they don't speak English. Also, we have gotten some comments that when people call 911, that if they're Spanish speakers, that the police are not sending out the police officer, but they're being referred to the sheriff's office. And so, you know, we need to continue to get more documentation, but that's something that we wanted to report, that that maybe those cases are out there, that the sheriff's not stopping people necessarily doing those detentions anymore, but there's other ways that they're still continuing that pattern of racial profiling.
Let me say, the order, fortunately or unfortunately, is only in the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. Doesn't impact the Phoenix Police, doesn't impact Mesa, doesn't impact Scottsdale, and all the other cities. But I can tell you this, if you were saying things haven't changed, we have a very involved judge. The judge has come to a couple of these community meetings. This judge doesn't go away. The judge is, you know, it's on top of this case. And even though he's okay that the compliance rate is 30% or 60%, what we're doing and so forth, because it's the beginning steps, as we go to year 2, or 2.5, or 3, you know, that compliance rate better increase. You know, if not, you know, this judge is not unlikely to pull the police department back into court and say, you know, here we are in year 2, and we're still at 16%, which I'm fully confident that that's going to increase. You know, we have the commitment of the department that's going to happen with the ACLU, and, you know, also looking over the shoulder to make sure what's going on. But should that not happen, should they be looking, you know, the other way, and hopefully that the judge goes away. This judge is a very involved judge who is not afraid to pull people back into court as often as the ACLU, the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, and say what's going on.
The sheriff had announced that he was going to stop the workplace raids. There's a court order that came down, a court decision that those
he's saying that he announced a February workplace rate. He's asking when the workplace rate is going to be on that.
So Sal, you're referring to the criminal employment unit of the sheriff's office that was, underscore, italicized, bold, emphasize that word, was conducting operations related to Arizona Revised Statute 13. This microphone. And that has, in fact, stopped. That unit has been disbanded. Those individuals assigned to that unit have been reassigned to different locations within the sheriff's office. So as it relates to Judge Campbell's order regarding the cease and desist, if you will, of the enforcement of those particular statutes, yes, he has ceased doing so and reassigned those personnel. I apologize. And that's what I'll elaborate a little further. Any current or potentially future investigations related to those particular statutes have stopped. And that answers my question for you, sir.
Thank you, Chief. Any other questions?
¿Me pueden traducir? Hello everybody. Pues quiero comentar hoy. Quiero comentar que entendemos, respetamos que los departamentos que los policías es una labor heroica, es una labor peligrosa. Respetamos eso.
First of all, saying all of this is respects the job that police officers do, the work job.
Sentimos los que han muerto en cumplimiento de su deber. Y también que muchos, posiblemente la mayoría, nos protegen, nos ayudan. Pero lo que está pasando en el departamento del sheriff es algo que no vamos a permitir. Hay mucha evidencia que es culpable de perfil racial, que está sobre la comunidad, y la comunidad vemos eso y de esa manera no vamos a cooperar. Ya que la cooperación ayuda a resolver crímenes y estamos a favor estamos contra el crimen, sea quien sea, no importa el color, la raza, estamos absolutamente contra el crimen. Y lo que está pasando aquí en Arizona, pues afecta al Estado, el racismo en contra de nuestra comunidad. Es algo que no queremos y no vamos a permitir esto. Gracias.
Any other questions? I want to thank the sheriff for being here, the sheriff's staff, the ACLU, Anthem, first and foremost, all of you that are here, I appreciate it. We'll be having our 7th community meeting probably in the month of March. We're looking at what day we're next. Yeah, there'll be one in March, one in April. We're rotating, we're required to go from district to district. We try not to go back to the same site, so we can attract people who can walk to that community meeting versus having to get a car and drive 15, 20 minutes, half an hour somewhere else. But again, thank you all for being here. I appreciate it.